We've got an interesting backstory for the tribute store this year. It's a little bit hard to come by though. The gift shop at the exit of the Mummy attraction is called the Sahara Traders, and inside you're going to find details about a shipment to a museum of some bat artifacts that have somehow gone awry, and it's now terrorizing the city, and that is what the theming that you're going to see in this sort of post-apocalyptic themed tribute store this year. I absolutely love the tribute store. This is the best place for you to buy all of your Halloween Horror Nights merchandise. Let's go ahead and head on in and see what we can find. Now keep in mind this is in the New York section of the park, so the theming here is going to be heavily New York oriented. Obviously the construction areas are all over the place in New York City, and that's kind of what we're getting a glimpse at here. So you can see some sort of construction site. Looks like someone marked it safe at one point and maybe added the ish, and now it says not. It is not safe to go inside. We need to keep away from the bats. We're going to see some indications of that coming up soon. But first, let's take a quick glance at some of the merchandise. I really love this coffin-shaped calendar that counts down to Halloween. It's only just now September. It's about 150 degrees outside. It's hard to get in that fall Halloween spirit, but it's going to be here in no time at all. And places like this really help us along. So what are we looking at here? Somebody's selling things out of the back of their van. Obviously, that's the theme, but there is some real merchandise here. I believe those cups and mugs say "Where Horror Lives." So usually you're going to find a lot of merchandise that's themed around the attractions in the park this year. We did happen to go through all of the haunted houses already. They've got some pretty good ones this year, including Ghostbusters. You've got some Ghostbusters merchandise here. The haunted house, let me just say, had some amazing scenes. I think thematically that was probably the best one. I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but they show a lot of the scenes from the latest movie of things becoming frozen, and I think those effects are really, really impressive. Maybe not necessarily the effects, but the sets themselves too. If you get a chance to go, I'm sure you won't be disappointed. Of course, if you can't go, I'm sure you can find the video walkthroughs here on YouTube already. You're not supposed to film in the haunted houses, but I see a lot of videos already up anyway. I will admit that as Tom walked through, I may have taken a discreet photo or two, which we will be sharing with you probably in our upcoming live video. So if you're interested in seeing some of those photos, a little bit of our behind the scenes tours that we took, giving us some backstory in many of the haunted houses, be sure to join our live videos, which we try to do every Wednesday, or every once in a while Wednesdays. We'll call that our What's Up Wednesdays. If you want to get notifications on those, go ahead and hit that subscribe button with the notification bell. You don't want to miss this riveting content, as well as DIYs, product reviews, other store walkthroughs, and more. So with that shameless plug out of the way, let's take a look more at the merchandise in the store here. There you can kind of see bat target practice posters over there, which is kind of fun. There's Tom in his Happy Haunting shirt. I do think we got a couple of second glances to that as we were walking around the park, but only one person came up to say hi and let us know that they watched our videos, which I really appreciated. Thank you very much. If anyone else happens to see us out and about, we'd love to talk to you. It's always nice to hear that people actually watch these videos. Probably not this one so much. I think our tribute store and Halloween Horror Night videos don't tend to get that many views, so maybe this one will be different. Who knows? Look at this rain effect on the storefronts here. So obviously, I don't know why they just stuck it in that corner, except for the fact that I think that was an effect in the last year's tribute store when it was a comic book theme. I vaguely remember, and there was a lot of that rain effect, at least in one of the scenes. So don't feel like it was very appropriately placed there. Just kind of felt like it was thrown in. And if I've got to be honest, I wasn't really too thrilled with a lot of the theming, not only in the tribute store here. It was a little weak compared to previous years. I mean, I do kind of like the broken storefront, the sort of post-apocalyptic theme, but it seems a little easy, whereas I think some of the previous years have been a lot more thematic. There was just a lot more to look at and made it a bit more fun. And I think in the past years, like each of these sort of individual area rooms that you go into were differently themed. I mean, it had the overarching theme, but each individual area kind of felt like its own different space with its kind of unique look. Whereas all of this just kind of blends together as post-apocalyptic. So, I mean, obviously I guess we're outdoors now. Maybe that rain meant to show us that now we're outside and here's a tent of someone outside. And then in the next room, I think we're going to see like the subways and then in the end the newsstand. So I guess they're kind of individual and distinct, but again, it's kind of not really. I do like that they used a whole corner of this room just for that little tent, particularly the toilet setup. I actually kind of wonder if there was anything in there. I should have looked a little bit closer. But that was a lot of real estate that they could have used for merchandise. And I apologize if you wanted to actually see most of the merchandise. I'm kind of trying to hit the highlights, mostly, of course, the t-shirts. But there was a good amount of merchandise throughout the store. Obviously, you can get the same merchandise pretty much in most of the stores, which is kind of unfortunate. I would think if they had played up the bat theming a bit more on the merchandise, they could have sold it maybe pretty well here. But it doesn't really have anything to do with like the icons of the park, which this year, again, the entire whole icon concept was a little weak overall. The theming in past years, you had a main villain or something, and it did kind of translate into all of the different scare zones and whatnot, and that's where I think it kind of failed this year. I mean, they had a sort of generic overall theme of sinister and surreal. There's the 33, kind of with a little devil's tail. You're going to see 33 all over the place. But anyway, I don't think the themes really carried through each individual zone, and that's unfortunate. But anyway, let's go ahead and check out the rest of the merchandise here. I will say the store was very crowded. I'm kind of using some camera angles to kind of keep people out of the shots as much as possible, so it's a little hard to get the gist of just how many people were in here. Obviously, there was a line outside we had to wait in to get into the store, which was probably at least 30 people deep before we got in. One thing about the tribute store, though, is they always have a dessert area with interesting and cool thematic desserts. You will find lots of food stands throughout the park offering Halloween Horror Night specific foods, which is a nice draw for the event, I suppose. But those lines, again, were horrendous. So I think because it is opening weekend, it is a little bit busier, but it should calm down, I guess, in the next couple of weeks if you're planning to visit, and then just get steadily busier once we start hitting October. This, I think, might have been my favorite room, which is kind of the checkout area. Here is the subway car that seems to have derailed here in the subway station, which the checkout booths kind of look like the ticket booths from New York City. Little glance at the merchandise. Look, they even have one of those little turnstiles there, just like you do in Manhattan. Here are some Chucky popcorn buckets. $45-ish, I think they were. I know because I looked. I was intending to buy one this year and didn't realize how expensive they were. But last year, they were the hot commodity, and I couldn't find one anywhere last year. This year, they are all over the park, and that, again, is just because they sell all of this exact same merchandise everywhere. So aside from the theming of the store, there's not really a point of waiting in the 30-plus person line just to get in, except for, look at this cool display. You've got a subway car, and what is that in the background? I think that might be a vampire. We're going to have to take a look here. But first, moving on down past the cashiers. And someone else taking a picture. Here he is, the villain of the store. Don't know what he's called, but he's some sort of evil bat vampire guy. And as the signs say throughout the store, no bat is a good bat. Take them out. Let's go ahead, before we head out, and pass through the subway train itself. It's been over a decade since I lived in New York City, but these color schemes just bring me right back. It's dead on, that orange and yellow. It's just burned into my brain, taking those trains every day. So I will give them props for that. And here, of course, is your boarded up newsstand. It's always nice that they keep that display going right until the end. And there is our last bat warning before we head on back out into the park. So stay tuned for further videos if you want to see our walk through all of the scare zones this year and the rest of our experiences at Halloween Horror Nights 33 in Universal Studios in Orlando. I want to thank you all for watching. Again, if you're interested in more videos like this, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Till next time, take care everyone, stay out of the fog, and happy haunting.